I used to hit a wall at 2 p.m. every single day. You know that feeling of being completely drained? Where even the thought of making dinner feels like climbing a mountain? I just assumed that was my new normal after 60. It felt like a slow fade, like someone was gradually turning down the lights until my world felt dim and sluggish. I'd heard people talk about magnesium, of course, usually in these hushed, reverent tones, but I was skeptical. It sounded like just another promise in a bottle. So I decided to put it to the test with a simple 7-day challenge. Honestly, I wasn't expecting much, but what happened in just 1 week didn't just surprise me. It completely changed my energy and, honestly, my life. For months, maybe even a couple of years, my days were just ruled by this relentless fatigue. It wasn't just feeling a little tired. It was a bone-deep exhaustion that would creep in right after lunch and hold me hostage until evening. It stole my afternoons. My garden, which used to be my sanctuary, started to feel like a chore. I'd look out the window, see the weeds, and just not have the energy to go pull them. Playing with my grandkids became a race against my own internal clock. I knew I only had a few good hours in me before I'd have to sit down and just watch from the sidelines. The worst part, though, was the brain fog. That feeling of walking through mental mud where your thoughts are slow and forming a clear sentence feels like a huge effort. I felt like I was losing my sharpness, my spark. And I'd tell myself, well, this is just part of getting older. I accepted it. I'd see articles about miracle supplements and roll my eyes, convinced it was all just clever marketing aimed at people like me, people desperate to feel like their old selves again. I was convinced my vibrant, energetic days were in the rearview mirror. It was this quiet, creeping sense of loss, not for anything dramatic, but for the simple joy of having enough energy to live a full day. The breaking point came on a Tuesday. I remember it so clearly. My daughter called, all excited about a new evening walking trail that had opened up by the lake. Her voice was so full of life as she described the sunset views, and all I could feel was this wave of preemptive exhaustion. The thought of going out after 5 p.m. felt impossible. I made an excuse, something about having things to do, and hung up the phone feeling just sad. I had just lied to my daughter because I was too tired to take a simple walk. That was it. I was done accepting this. That night, I didn't just browse online. I really dove into the research. I learned that our ability to absorb magnesium can decline as we age, and a lot of older adults don't get enough. I read about how magnesium is crucial for the body's energy production, helping to convert food into usable fuel. It's involved in hundreds of biochemical reactions in our bodies. Some sources say over 300, others say over 600. It's a true workhorse mineral. I saw stories of people who felt more alert and refreshed after using it. The skepticism was still there, but it was being overshadowed by a little glimmer of hope. So I decided right then and there. I was going to do a simple 7-day magnesium challenge. My goal wasn't to run a marathon. It was simple. Could I get through just 1 day without that 2 p.m. crash? Could I have enough energy to enjoy my evenings again? After reading about the different forms, I chose magnesium glycinate. It's known for being gentle on the stomach and having a calming effect, which I hoped might also help my sleep. My plan was to take a moderate dose, 1 in the morning and 1 in the evening, and just see what happened. I was going to be my own little science experiment. The 7-day journey, day 1 and 2, the baseline. On the morning of day 1, I took a moment to rate how I felt. My energy on a scale of 1 to 10 was a solid 4. I felt okay, but I knew that afternoon slump was waiting for me. I took my first capsule with breakfast, feeling that mix of hope and cynicism. Sure enough, like an unwelcome guest, the wave of fatigue hit me around 2:15 p.m. I pushed through, but by dinner time I was spent. I took my evening dose and went to bed thinking, well, what did you expect? A miracle on day 1? Day 2 was almost a carbon copy. Took my magnesium, went about my day, and the afternoon fog rolled in just as thick as ever. I felt a pang of disappointment thinking maybe this was just another failed experiment. That night, though, as I was reading in bed, I realized my eyelids felt heavy in a pleasant, natural way. Not that exhausted, can't keep your eyes open feeling, but a gentle readiness for sleep. It was a small thing, but I made a mental note of it. Day 3 and 4, the turning point. Day 3 is when everything started to change. It wasn't a lightning bolt. It was quiet. I was in the kitchen preparing lunch, and I happened to glance at the clock. It was 2:30 p.m. I just stopped. I wasn't tired. My mind wasn't fuzzy. I just felt normal. The wall I had been hitting every single day just wasn't there. I was cautiously thrilled. Was this a fluke? Later that afternoon, I found myself pulling on my gardening gloves and spending a solid hour outside, something I hadn't had the spontaneous energy for in months. That night, I slept more soundly than I had in a very long time. It felt like I reached a deeper, more restorative level of rest. I remembered reading that magnesium helps regulate the neurotransmitters that promote sleep. Then on day 4, I woke up before my alarm, not with a jolt, but feeling genuinely refreshed. The energy from the day before wasn't a fluke. It was still there. The afternoon came and went without a single thought of needing a nap. I had this steady, clean energy that lasted all day. I was starting to believe. Day 5, 6, and 7. The transformation. By day 5, the benefits were undeniable. The persistent, nagging ache in my lower back and the little muscle twitches I'd get in my legs at night had just vanished. I learned that magnesium is vital for muscle function, helping them relax properly. The absence of these minor pains was a relief I didn't even know I was looking for. My mood felt brighter. The world didn't seem so dim anymore. Day 6 was the real test. My daughter called again, asking if I wanted to join her and the kids for that early evening walk at the lakeside trail. This time I didn't hesitate. I said I'd love to, and I meant it. We walked for over an hour. I kept up with my grandkids. I wasn't out of breath, and my legs felt strong. When I got home, the old me would have collapsed onto the sofa, but the new me felt invigorated. I came home and started making a late dinner, humming to myself. On day 7, the final day, I woke up feeling like a completely different person. The energy wasn't a temporary boost. It felt like my new baseline. The fatigue and brain fog felt like a distant memory. I had my spark back. The big reveal and the after. It's hard to believe I am the same person who started this challenge just a week ago. The relentless fatigue that colored every part of my life is gone. The muscle aches I'd written off as just getting older have eased. But the biggest change, the most incredible result, is the return of my clarity and my spark. I feel present, I feel capable, and I feel like myself again. And it's not a jittery, caffeine-fueled energy. It's a calm, steady vitality that carries me through the entire day. I'm no longer planning my life around a mandatory afternoon collapse. I'm gardening again, taking long walks, and saying yes to evening plans. If you've ever felt that your energy just isn't what it used to be, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. And if this journey is resonating with you, I'd be so grateful if you hit that like button. It really does help others find this story. Simple educational break. So, you're probably wondering what was actually happening in my body. Now, I am not a doctor or a nutritionist, and it is so important to talk to your own health provider before starting any new supplement. This is especially true if you have any health conditions or are on other medications. But I do want to share a little of what my own research taught me. Magnesium is an essential mineral, and for good reason. It's a key player in hundreds of processes in the body, and one of its most important jobs is helping create energy by turning the food we eat into fuel for our cells. As we get older, our bodies can become less efficient at absorbing magnesium, and many of us just don't get enough from food alone. There are also many different forms. I chose magnesium glycinate because it's known for being easily absorbed and gentle on the stomach. Other forms, like magnesium citrate, are also great for energy, while some people find magnesium malate is helpful for muscle soreness. The key is finding what works for you. Of course, the best source of any nutrient is always food. Leafy greens, nuts, seeds, and whole grains are all fantastic sources. This 7-day challenge ended up being a revelation. It taught me that we don't have to just accept fatigue and a loss of energy as an inevitable part of getting older. Sometimes our bodies are just trying to tell us they need a little more support. For me, that support was magnesium. It felt like the missing piece of the puzzle. My journey is just that, my own. But I hope it gives you a bit of hope and maybe inspires you to listen to your body and look for your own answers. You deserve to feel vibrant, energetic, and fully alive at 60 and beyond. If you want to follow more of my journey to better health after 60, make sure you subscribe and ring that notification bell. I would absolutely love to hear about your own experiences with energy, fatigue, or even magnesium in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching, and here's to feeling vibrant at any age.